Yeah.
What's poppin', T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea, All Shade Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 12, Episode 12 review. Let's get right into it. So the episode picks up exactly where we left off last week with Erika telling Crystal that she can't eat a chicken tender because of her bulimia or anorexia, and Crystal didn't even acknowledge it. You could tell it stung, but she was just like probably just so shocked by that statement after the conversation they just had. I hope she brings it up later when Erika is not drunk. Then we see Kathy say hi to Cherie, and Cherie was like, it's such a pleasure to meet you. And Kathy told me something. It's been such a long time since the last time I saw you. And Cherie was like, I don't think that we've ever met before. And Kathy was like, oh no, I never forget a face. Obviously you have, because you've never met this lady. Like, if Kathy don't get her some goddamn glasses, child, because no way did you think that Garcelle looked like your damn sister, ma'am. You are all the way blind. So then Diana's husband gets up to sing Oh Holy Night. And child, Diana is over there with another Sergio, child, because he was like, okay, ladies, let's line up so I can sing. Girl, get away from here. Girl, get away from this mic. Talking to Erika. I'm like, oh, girl. Oh, how you doing? I'm like, now it makes sense. She over there married to her good Judy too, child. So the man starts singing. Of course he can sing. He sang down. But Erika drunk ass is sitting on the couch singing along with him, thinking that she back in the musical Chicago. And everybody is like, oh my God, like what is she doing? Like she is being so rude up here singing. And y'all know Erika can't sing like that. And Garcelle looking at her like, are you fucking kidding me? Diana sitting right next to her. Diana didn't even tell her to be quiet. I'm like, oh, but let that have been Sutton or Garcelle or somebody. All hell would have broke loose if somebody else was doing that shit. But ain't nobody gonna check Erika on being rude and trying to have her little 5 seconds of the spotlight while your husband is singing. And I'm like, Diana, if you don't say nothing to her, that's gonna let me know exactly where your ass stand. So then after the whole singing fiasco, Erika, Lisa, and Diana and Kathy are sitting down, and Erika drunkenly tells Kathy that, she got all her invites for Paris's wedding and everything, but she didn't want to come because she didn't want that scarlet letter on her to affect the wedding and the festivities. And she's got tears in her eyes and she's crying and she's slurring her words, and she was like, but despite all that, she looked fucking beautiful. She looked fucking fabulous. And Kathy's like, okay, girl, all right. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. And so she just keeps going on and on and on. And Kathy is just like, okay, let me get the fuck away from this chick because she is doing the most. Meanwhile, her bestie, Erika's bestie, Lisa, is sitting right there, seeing her friend a drunken mess, and does nothing. And I'm looking at Erika like, if you're not watching this shit back and seeing that Lisa don't really give a fuck about you. Lisa don't give a fuck about you, because if she was your real true friend, she would have stopped you a long time ago and told you, hey sis, let's lay off the drinks for the night. Let's get some water in you. Let's get some food in you. Switched out her cups, did something. She sits back and allows her to drink until she gets drunk and make a fool out of herself and does nothing. Lisa is a friend to nobody. Lisa Rinna is a fucking snake and a viper, and I cannot stand her. So Kathy then goes back and joins Kyle and the girls, and she was like, they asked, how's Erika doing? And she was like, yo, she is out of control. Like, she is over there drunk. And Garcelle said, she told my 14-year-old son to F off. And Kathy was like, she needs help. Like, it's obvious there's a problem here. And here come Kyle, that Fox 5 shit. Well, I just think we need to cut her some slack, she's just going through some stuff. We need to cut her some slack. And Garcelle was like, you need to cut her some slack. I don't need to do shit. And I'm like, exactly. Because what the fuck you mean we need to cut her some slack? So none of y'all give a fuck about her. All y'all just want her to act like a drunken fool to keep the spotlight off of y'all and y'all bullshit, obviously. Because if y'all was any true friend of her, y'all would be concerned and not saying, oh, she's loosening up. Let her just walk around and act like a drunken idiot in front of everybody and make a fool out of herself. Yeah, just let her do that because she needs, to loosen up and have fun. Go get the fuck out of her. Erika then tells Diana and Lisa that she's on Lexapro and like some other medications to help with her mental health, and she got help with her mental health via Lisa's daughter Amelia. And it's just, and she tells me, and I know I've had a few drinks. Like, how are you on all of these medications and drinking? That is dangerous. And meanwhile, once again, Lisa's just sitting there idly, just sitting there. Diana doesn't say, girl, that's a deadly combination. You shouldn't be doing that. Nobody says anything to her. Garcelle then says that, to the girls, whether we're her friends or not, we still have to address this because this is a problem. She has had drunken outbursts at the last 3 events that we have had. And Kyle was like, well, I think that I'm sensitive to the word alcoholic because of my sister Kim. Girl, get the fuck out of here because you ain't give a fuck about Kim neither. Shut up, Kyle. And so Kyle in her confessional was like, Garcelle is trying to bait me to say that Erika has a drinking problem and I'm just not going to do that. Ma'am, we're not saying that she even has a drinking problem. We're saying that right about now in her life, she's using alcohol as a crutch. We're not calling her an alcoholic, but regardless of the fact whether she's an alcoholic or not, it's obvious there is a problem. And she's mixing medications with alcohol. That is an issue. And so it's not a let her be footloose and fancy free when it's obvious that your friend is over here struggling. She's struggling, period. And the fact that none of y'all are willing to address that outside of Garcelle, who ain't even her friend like that, says a lot. And I don't even think it's a situation where Garcelle just trying to go at Erika or be malicious. It's obvious there's a problem. But the Fox 5 is going to make it seem like Garcelle just trying to be messy. Garcelle just trying to come at Erika. Girl, okay, y'all. So even Crystal in her confession was like, I think that Kyle is one of those people that just likes to support her friends blindly. And I don't agree with that because if I do something wrong, I expect for my friends to hold me accountable. And I was like, and you should have said that in the moment, not in your confessional, Crystal, in the moment. So Diana at the end of the night sits with Garcelle. Mind you, when it was time to leave, Erika couldn't even stand up. She fell back on the couch and everything. Diana tells Garcelle, that she was inappropriate for how she behaved at her birthday party and that she apologizes for lashing out at her and that she really does like her and want to get to know her. And she felt like maybe it's just with Sutton not being around that they were able to get along, but she does want to get to know Garcelle a little bit more or whatever. Yeah, I'm good on that. You could tell Garcelle was good on that too. She was like, okay, just being pleasant, but you can tell she like, girl, that ship has sailed. I have seen you for who you are. I'm good on that. And I don't blame you, Garcelle. We then see Dorit and PK at home, and we find out that PK was arrested for suspicion of DUI. He wasn't arrested. They just took him in, had him do the breathalyzer, and then they drove him home. He told Dorit the next day, but he only told her because he needed her to go pick up his car. So she was, of course, upset about it or whatever. But then the press found out about it a while later. So now it was making headline news and, now she's pissed off again. So they're rehashing the conversation and he blatantly tells her, like, if you wouldn't have had to go to pick up my car, I wouldn't have told you. And of course she's pissed off because she was like, I don't want a husband that's going to lie to me. She was like, that's big for me. And she was like, that's not cool. You need to tell me everything. And I agree because like we're public figures. So imagine if you hadn't told me and then the press picks it up and I find out with everybody else. That would have been a motherfucking problem, PK. So then we see Lisa visiting Erika at her home. And I believe, ain't that the same Versace shirt that she had on that Sutton house with that skirt? I believe it is. So I was shocked to see her wear the same outfit twice in the same season. So she brings up the fact that Erika was a drunk, silly mess at Diana's party. And Erika admits that when she got home that night that she fell and hit her head and that she threw up. And I'm like, this girl could have killed herself. But Kyle thinks it's so great for her to just loosen up and have fun. Meanwhile, this lady over here damn near killing herself. So Lisa is like, girl, you are out of control. Like, you cannot continue to mix your medication with alcohol. And I'm like, about time you said it, but it shouldn't even got this far for you to finally step in and say something to her. But like, at least you finally did, because I was really starting to look at her like she crazy. And Mikey, her creative director and stylist and all that, was like, I know from knowing you all of these years, you're not a real drinker like that, but mixing the meds and the alcohol, that's something that we just simply cannot do. And Erika was like, I agree. Like, I have been reckless and I have to stop. And I'm like, about time. I hope that she honestly does listen and, stops, because girl, you gonna hurt yourself or kill yourself. Like, this is ridiculous. And like I said, watch this still gets turned on Garcelle for allegedly being messy, even though Lisa has saw that, yeah, my friend does have a problem and she almost killed herself. So Garcelle's concerns were very much warranted. So we then see Garcelle meet up with Erika for drinks. And they sit down and they, start to order, and Garcelle orders her a drink, and Erika tries to order a tea, but they don't serve hot drinks where they're sitting. So instead of getting a water or a soda or something like that, or lemonade, she asks for a cognac. I'm like, what the fuck? And even Garcelle was like, she couldn't order something else. Like, what in the hell? Like, you just told Lisa Rinna that taking your medication and drinking wasn't good, but yet still you're still doing it. Make it make sense. So Garcelle was like, the last few times I've seen you, you've been kind of tipsy. She was like, no, I was blackout drunk. And Garcelle was like, why? And she was like, thinking I could take my medication and drink on it. And she was like, it's something I obviously can't do. And then Lisa Rinna came over and called her out on her shit. And Erika admits that, she's struggling right now. She's struggling, and, it's kind of hard for her to get used to her former life and her life right now. And she was like, but being where I am now, it's making me see things in a whole new light. And so Garcelle was like, well, with your new eyes, how do you feel about our friend group? And Erika sits there for a second, and she was like, you know what? I'm glad that you have Cherie, because I feel like Sutton could be a liability to you. And I'm like, what is this hard on that you have for Sutton? What is this hard on that you have for her? Because one minute you in her face laughing and kikiing, and the next minute you going after her. Like, what are you talking about? Like, have you not seen yourself? And Garcelle, even in her confession, was like, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Because if there isn't a more scandalous woman in the United States right now, it's Erika Jayne. Like, girl, get your life. And Garcelle was like, you know what? I don't know why people keep saying that about Sutton, but I just feel like, let's lay off of her. Like, go on to something else. And Erika was like, she knows what she's doing. She's a big girl. She knows what she's doing. And exactly, because you know what you're doing too. You know exactly what you're doing as well. And I just feel like she's full of shit. She's full of shit, and she's deflecting, and she's still drinking on meds. Girl, okay, Erika. I'm so over her. Overall, I give tonight's episode a B+. It was good. Seems like next week is going to be spicy as hell, so I cannot wait. Make sure you guys check out my Sheree Whitfield and Lost Her Mind tea party video with my good friend Sheridan. It is up right now, as well as a slew of other videos that I've dropped this week. And I have even more content coming the rest of this week. So make sure you guys have your notification bell buttons turned on. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like, and subscribe. And I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.